Ah, level boosting. Should you do it? Let's talk about it. Now, Lord of the Rings Online has been out for 16 years now, and that means 16 years of content updates, patches, and 8 expansions, soon to be 9. It also means the level cap in the game has steadily increased over those last 16 years. Now, characters originally capped out at level 50, and over the years it has increased to 60, 65, 75, 85, 95, all the way up to level 140. And most likely at the end of the year we're going to see level 150. Now, this can seem to a new player or even somebody returning to the game like a pretty steep task, and to some degree they'd be right. Now, everyone who has ever played an MMO or RPG knows there is leveling involved, and that there are usually a few different ways to accomplish this task. LOTRO is no different in this regard. You could level the normal way by doing quests, epic story quests, on-level dungeons. Now, this route might take you quite some time, and depending on what you want to do, what your ultimate goal is within the game, that could be awesome or could be a deterrent. You could do the same method and use a Tome of Extraordinary XP or a Tome of Exceptional XP to double or triple your XP gains while you're questing. You could do a little bit of power leveling with a friend who has a higher level character that could take you through some of those more difficult areas and dungeons to maximize your questing time. Or you could use a level boost. Let's talk about that last one, the level boost. Now, before we dive in, tell me in the comments if you've used a level boost. What was your experience like? Did you have previous characters? Was it your first character and did you feel like you instantly made a mistake? I want to hear from you down below. Okay, so what is a level boost and how do they work? In Lord of the Rings Online, there are several different types of level boosts that have been released in the store as part of certain expansion bundles as the level cap has increased. Now, technically there are 6 level boosts. However, the Valor Boost level 140 was a short run special in the store and is currently not available for purchase. The remaining level boosts are the Gift of the Valor for level 50, the Blessing of the Valor for level 95, the Aria of Valor for level 105, the Valor level boost 120, and the Valor boost level 130. I guess they ran out of unique names or something. All of these packages are available for purchase in the LOTRO store on any character that is not already at or above the level cap for that package. For example, if you're level 50, you cannot use the Gift of the Valor, but you can use any of the higher ones. You'll only be able to see eligible Valor packages in the store once you are logged into a character that can use the items. These packages offer a lot of other bonuses, mounts, buffs, and items to help you as you're skipping over a lot of content. Once you click on the item in your inventory, you'll see lots of items and consumables populate. Now, what some people do is if they have the points, they will get all of the Valor packages and use them one by one so they can completely avoid the Virtue XP grind that is associated with getting a character appropriately ready for raiding and PvMP. Now, at this point, you can use any of the items to level you up. Gear up, get out an adventure at your new level. Okay, so that's what level boosts in LOTRO are and what they do. Now to the real important question. Should you use one? Ultimately, only you can answer that question, but I'm going to try to help you decide by putting out some subjective pros and cons based on my experiences over the last 16 years playing LOTRO. Let's go over the pros of using a level boost. Now, the most obvious pro for using a level boost is getting closer to the level cap as quickly as possible. For some people, this is hugely advantageous and one of the single most important pieces of the MMO puzzle. Getting to endgame so they can play with their friends who have been playing for a while now. Another one of the pros of using a level boost is something I mentioned earlier, in that the boost provides certain items that can accelerate the completion of your virtues. This is almost always more time consuming than leveling, unless you do it in tandem with leveling, and even then, your levels will outpace your virtues. So in essence, you'll get to level cap and still need to work on your gear and virtues. This next pro is kind of an edge case scenario, but I can definitely see the upside for it. If you make a character on the same class you already have, and then purchase a boost, you'd in theory be able to double your loot chances for that class and have more opportunities to run the content. Plus, you'd already know how to play that class. Now another edge case scenario would be playing with people on a different server. If you already have a maxed out champion on Arkenstone, for example, and you want to play on Gladden to help someone do fire and ice, you can make another champion and get on Gladden, hop in, get right to it. I think what it really boils down to is when it comes to the pros for using a level boost at this time, obviously the value is in the eye of the beholder, and only you can determine if there is value in a boost. Now let's take a look at some of the cons to using a level boost. The first one is really going to relate very heavily to LOTRO, as the game is driven mainly by the story and the experience. If you use a level boost, you're skipping huge portions of the game. Now that's not to say you can't go back and still do the content, but it's just not going to feel the same when you complete it, and you might feel like you're checking off a box rather than enjoying the experience. One of the biggest cons for using a level boost is not really knowing the class. Part of leveling in a game like this is learning to play the class. MMOs have a way of easing you in and not piling tons of skills and abilities on right away. This can be very overwhelming and a lot to learn. It's kind of like starting off with a screwdriver and then upgrading to an entire workshop of tools you've never used before. You might get some things right, but probably will just use the wrong tools for the job and not be efficient. Also, skipping a lot of the earlier content can make some of the later content feel inconsistent and also incoherent. But again, if you don't care about that kind of stuff and just want to get to max level, then boost away. Something I've personally noticed over the years is you can really tell what person has boosted a character that has never played before. They just don't really know how to play it and really play it at a basic level. It can be fairly obvious and may not bode well in getting into certain dungeon groups or raid groups later on. Now the last con is that even if you are trying to be at max level as quickly as possible, you're still going to need to level. The last 10 levels are either going to need to be done in the most recent expansion or through Sword Hall Ward Penn's power leveling route. Now I think the last and probably most important con is the cost. Valor packages are not cheap. They range from 2,995 LOTRO points all the way up to 6,695 LOTRO points. If we were to get them all out of the store and not from an expansion bundle, it would cost you about $300 of the points if they're not on sale. If points happen to be on sale, you could get enough as low as $160, depending on the sale. It's a little more reasonable if you're buying one, say for example the 130 boost. It can still seem a little on the expensive side, but if you've been playing for a while and you're VIP, you may have enough to get a boost once a year, assuming you're not buying other things out of the cash shop. So what do I think? I think that if it's your first character, you should experience the parts of the game that make it great. The landscape, the story, and just the core experience of the MMO. You should see the world that was crafted for what it is. If you're wanting to get to level cap as soon as possible and feel like you can handle the steep learning curve in playing something that has its entire toolkit available to you, then go for it. Just don't be surprised if you feel overwhelmed and maybe have a dash of regret. If you're a veteran of the game and you feel comfortable with game mechanics and don't want to play through the Lone Lands or Rohan or Gondor for the 10th time, sure, fire away and get that boost going. Get working on your dailies and weeklies, get your embers, get your virtue experience and all that good stuff. I think ultimately at this stage in the game, people are playing it not because it's an MMO, but because it's Lord of the Rings. Let's face it, there are much more modern and performant MMOs out there. You're playing because you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings, and you want to experience Middle-earth, so go out and experience it. I hope this video was able to help answer the questions for whether or not you should boost a character in the Lord of the Rings Online. What did you decide? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video or live stream. Take care.